People are more resilient than you think. The people that you have around you, the team, your friends, your family members, your coworkers, like, when are you guys going to stop acting like they need to be coddled and protected? Like, it's one thing to look after your people, you know what I mean, to make sure that they're taken care of. But a lot of you guys, a lot of us, myself included, are guilty of taking such good care of people they never reach their full potential. You coddle them and prevent their growth. And I want you guys to really take a second before you decide to click off this video, or, you know, you're basically asking yourself, should you stick around? And I want you to ask yourself this question. When it comes to leading others, okay, when it comes to your team, your family, do you overly protect them from the truth? Do you avoid being direct with them? Do you hold back in life and not give them the constructive criticism that you know that they need? Do you protect them from the things that could make them potentially grow? Because did you ever stop to think that you're not protecting them, you're actually hurting them by holding back? That's what I'm going to talk to you guys about in this video. I sat down with a mentor of mine in Afghanistan. He taught me this lesson that helped my leadership tremendously, and that's what I'm going to share with you to help your leadership tremendously. Okay? You know, I was the guy that was a bit of a people pleaser as a kid, if you guys can relate to that. And I never really wanted to hurt people's feelings. As a matter of fact, I was kind of like a peacekeeper inside of my house, right? I was that type of kid. And I thought that if somebody got upset, that was a bad thing. But getting upset is actually where people actually grow. If you think back in your life, the times that you grew a lot were times where you got pissed the hell off. You know, you really got fed up. And yet, you as the leader of your team, you don't ever let your people get fed up. You never let them hit rock bottom. You never let them get pissed off. You never let them. You avoid being direct with them. And you tend to their feelings versus their growth. You're more concerned with their feelings than you are their growth. Fuck, I've been there. So I was sitting with my mentor one time, and he was teaching me about high performance. He was teaching me about mindset. And I remember I was in Afghanistan. I got mentorship when I was in Afghanistan, guys. If you're over there sitting there saying you can't get mentorship because of where you're at, I was in Afghanistan getting mentored with somebody back in the States. I made that shit happen. So I'm getting mentored, and I invested in myself for this mentorship. Full year. And I remember every time I met with my mentor, he was always asking me about my challenges. Like, what was I going through that were my challenges? And I would share it with him. I said, hey, I noticed something about myself. I was running on the track this morning. I was doing interval work, and I used to go out to this in Kandahar. I used to go to this baseball track, or this track. If you guys have ever been to Kandahar in Afghanistan, they had this area that had it was like the boardwalk. They had some shops there and stuff, and they had a little track there where you could work out. So I'd go out there and I'd run laps, and I'm out there early morning before the sun came up, and I'm out there running. There's this other guy on the track that shows up. He starts running. He's jogging kind of at his pace or whatever, and I'm out there doing intervals, right? And I'm like competitive at this point. I'm really pushing myself. I'm really just reaching in and seeing what I got. And I run up next to him, and I remember as I'm running up to him, I was going so fast I felt bad. And I told myself just to basically pause and slow down. I was like, well, you know what? Maybe not. Don't dust past him. That's kind of rude. He'll feel like he's going slow. And so I caught myself throttling down for the interval. How many of you guys do that in your life? How many of you guys throttle yourself down to accommodate other people? That's a form of people pleasing, right? And so I caught myself doing this, and I was weird. I was like, why did I do that? You guys ever reflect after an event like that? You look back on it, you're like, why the fuck did I cater to that person so much? Why did I do that? And you go in that cycle of overthinking. So I did that, and I started reflecting, and I brought it to my mentor, and I said, I caught myself lowering down, like dropping my performance down to accommodate this stranger because I didn't want him to feel bad about his pace and how fast I was going. It was a form of self-sabotage. And I remember, I'll never forget what he told me. He said, Jeremiah, you need to remember that people are more resilient than you think. I said, wait, what? What do you mean? He said, remember, people are more resilient than you think. A lot of times in life, we try to protect those that are around us by accommodating their feelings, right? Like by caring more about how they feel than what could actually make them better. And he told me that in that moment, I wasn't helping the guy by slowing down. That I made myself small, and that humility was not about making yourself small. It was about making others big. So I go on, and this lesson really resonated with me, and I kept thinking about that. People are more resilient than you think. And so I keep going that deployment, and a couple of weeks later, maybe a month later or so, I run into this guy that I was in the ROTC program with, the Reserve Officer Training Camp program. This is back in college after I switched out from enlisted, and I was going to become an officer. So I was in there working my way to become an infantry officer, and I met a guy there. Years later, maybe I think it was something like 6 years later, I run into this guy that I was in school with in Afghanistan. Okay, he was doing part-time military. He was in the I don't know if it's the reserves or the guard, but I run into him and I'm like, bro, what's up? And he was I'll use his name here. His name was Alsman. Alsman was a shorter guy, but big personality, and we used to he was quite talkative and a loudmouth when we were back in school. We'd go out at night and he would be always trying to start some shit, and I would always be like, damn, man, don't start some shit. You're going to get us in trouble. But basically overseas, we're over there, and we run into each other randomly. And I'm like, man, what's up? Long time no see. We catch up. And anyways, come to find out, he had an Army physical fitness test coming up. And he asked me, he said, hey, Jay, would you mind coming out and pacing me for the Army physical fitness test? Pacing, he wanted to run at a certain speed, so he wanted me to pace him. And I said, oh, man. I was thinking, I had a very strict training plan that I was on. I was preparing for something in my military career that I wanted to be in top shape for. And I remember he said that, and I was like, I kind of gulped, and I was like, damn, man, this is going to take away from my training. And but I said yes. I said, you know what, yeah, I'll come out there and I'll pace you. And then afterwards I was like, dang it, man, how am I going to get my training in and help this guy out? And then I remembered the message from my mentor, and he said, people are more resilient than you think. So I got a hold of this guy, and I said, dude, hey, Alsman, I know you're only doing 2 miles tomorrow. My original plan was I was supposed to run further. I was supposed to run like a 10-miler or more. And I was wondering, man, to make the training a little bit more beneficial for me, would you mind, and I thought I was going to hurt his feelings with this, right? I was very careful. I said, would you mind if I did the 2-mile run with you in my body armor? Meaning I was going to wear 30, 40 pounds extra and run alongside of him. And I thought he was going to be so humiliated. I thought he was going to be so upset. I thought he was going to be so mad at me for saying, oh my God, this guy, how dare he want to come out and run next to me wearing his body armor. And I was like, oh, I'm really going to hurt this guy's feeling, man. It feels like a dick move to say that. And he looked at me, or I can't remember if we did this in person, but I remember he said what he said. He was like, bro, if I can't beat you in your body armor, he's like, I just need to get the hell out of the Army. And I was like, damn, hell yeah. So he was all about it. We said, all right, let's go. So bet. So I put on my body armor. He's not wearing one. He goes out and wears his PTs. I'm wearing my body armor. It's early in the morning, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or something like that. And we're running, and it's in Kandahar. So as we take off, it's down and out. We run a mile out, and then we turn around and run a mile back. And on the way out, it's super smooth. On the way back, it's a freaking dogfight, man. The wind picks up. The sand starts picking up, and it's both him and I running in this almost sandstorm. And at some point towards the end, towards the last half mile, it's so sandy we can barely see each other, and we're both sprinting and we're running and we're right there, right next to each other. I got my body armor on. He's slick. He doesn't have one, and we're just in this dog fight, man. That runner's dog fight where you can almost touch each other's elbows, and you're like, man, you just want to freaking bump that guy, but you're not doing it because you want a fair fight, and you're just you're freaking digging in. And I'm thinking, man, bro, push it. And he's thinking, I'm going to beat your ass. And we're going toe and toe. And then the last 50 meters, 100 meters, I start closing in. I'm leapfrogging him. He's leapfrogging me. And then the last 50 meters, I freaking turn on the dusters, man, and I smoke him. And I come in and I beat this guy. I beat him in the body armor. I was like, ooh, that's going to sting, I was like, I kind of felt bad. But I remembered, hey, people are more resilient than you think. So I said, screw it, I'm going to freaking give it my all. And I came in as fast as I could. He went over and he got his time. We met back up after that. And he comes over to me. He was like, Jay, bro, thank you so much. His feelings were not hurt at all. He was so excited. He said, dude, that was the fastest 2-miler I've ever ran in my military career. Thank you so much. If you hadn't been out there in that body armor, I wouldn't have done it. He's like, because every time I looked at you and I was like, this motherfucker going to do this with a body armor, I have to beat him. And he thanked me. And so I will never forget that lesson, okay? The lesson that people are more resilient than you think. When you rise up, you push yourself to the next level, you're actually honoring those that are around you. You're not holding them back. So don't cater to your team's feelings. Be direct with them. Expect them to be able to rise to the occasion. And remember, people are more resilient than you think. I hope you guys like this message. If you did, drop a comment down below, and I'll be putting out some more content for you guys. I'm going to keep these going, a little motivational today. And also, this is a great one to reprogram the mindset. You know, always remember that. These little quotes that I give you guys, remember that. Burn them into your mind. People are more resilient than I think. People are more resilient than I think. And that will allow you to be direct with them and call them up and not freaking push them out. Love y'all. Conquer all.